Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, YouTube. What's happening? What's happening? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Hump Day, folks. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We had a great show. First of all, let me get this out the way. YouTube, I do not own the rights to this music. This music is for educational purpose only. Let's get this thing started.
We all agree tonight, all of the speakers have agreed that America has a very serious problem. Not only does America have a very serious problem, but our people have a very serious problem. America's problem is self-destruction. And my self-destruction. Self-destruction. And my self-destruction. Self-destruction. And my self-destruction. Self-destruction. Well, today's topic, self-destruction. It really ain't the rap audience is bugging. It's one of two suckers, ignorant brothers, trying to rob and steal from one another. You get caught in the middle. So to crush that stereotype, here's what we did. We got ourselves together so that you can unite and fight for what's right. Not negative cause. The way we live is positive. We don't kill our relatives. Pop, one shot to the brain. Headlines, front page, and rap is the name. MC tonight, hit stick to my line. The black on black crime is wasting all time. With a knife that's right, try, cause he died. And I'm trying down when he left. His very last breath was I slept, so watch your step. Back in the city, our brothers and sisters want hands. How could you get mad? I never ran from a Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man. Cause that's self-destruction. And for self-destruction. Self-destruction. And for self-destruction. Self-destruction. And for self-destruction. Self-destruction. Turkey breast, press to impress, ready to pawn. Money in your pocket, dying to meet your pocket. Today inside, you pay the almost $10. Got shaped with a razor blade, tape to your collar. Leave the nuts in the crack and the knobs alone. MC lights on the microphone. One lunch in vision, snatching the taxes. I can't understand why brothers don't be maxing. There's only one disco, close one more. You ain't going this door. So what you gotta do? Do you rob a rich and give to the poor? Yo, daddy. Who just moved this thing from the mouth? And daddy-o will end up in jail and gotta go. You can rob and get paid today, and tomorrow you're behind bars in the worst way. Not from your family, cause you lost the way. Now, do you really think crime pays? Brother had a little sucker. You talking all that jazz. It's time to stand together in a unity. Cause if not, you'll win soon to be destroyed, unemployed. See, rap race will be lost without a trace. All a clue what to do is stop the violence and fix the science. Down the road that we call eternity, where knowledge is formed and you learn to be self-sufficient, independent. To teach the east is what rap intended, but society wants to invade. So do not walk this path that they laid it. Self-destruction, and for self-destruction. Self-destruction. Unite, get down like this. Self-destruction, and for self-destruction. Self-destruction. I'm not thinking I was going to get right. The box is back, one six is down. The people want to go and grow to another life. We can't be doing things something down. The enemy knows they're no fool because everyone knows the hip-hop rules. So we got to and rap what's true. The opposition is weak and rap is true. This is all about no doubt South violence. But first, let's have a moment of silence. Happens at the door, so there'll be no bump rushing. Let's get together, but we're falling apart. I heard a brother shot another, it broke my heart. I don't understand the difficulty, people. Love your brother, treat him as an equal. They call us animals, I don't agree with them. I prove it wrong, but right is what you're doing them. Take heed before I leave you what I'm saying. Or I'll be on my knees, right?
What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? Big Nate coming to you. I got a great live for you today, man. Yesterday was one of them days where you like just shake your head. Yesterday, young Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of murder in the state of Texas, in the city of Frisco, for unaliving a young man who allegedly, you could say bullying him. Now, we don't know if the young man was ever bullied by this young man. But I remember when the story first came out, it was the young man and his twin brother that approached Carmelo. And so-called they were saying Carmelo was, words going around and maybe Carmelo was defending himself or whatever. But they always brought the issue of the knife, saying that he might get in trouble just because he brought that knife to the track meet. But as the trial went on, we saw that the knife wasn't what they was focused on, the prosecutors was focusing on. They was focusing on the force that Carmelo used. See, and while the prosecution was doing that, I don't know what the hell the defense attorney was doing. In my opinion, the defense attorney who was defending Carmelo failed him. They failed him. First of all, this young man is on trial for murder, first-degree murder. Why did this trial only didn't last that long? It was a short trial for it to be a murder trial, especially global like it was. Then you have a defense attorney who's not really necessarily making an argument for what the prosecution is throwing out. He didn't explain why Carmelo brought the knife. It didn't make if the boys was bullying them. There's a whole lot of things that the defense attorney could have brought up that could have combated what the prosecution was saying. But the defense attorney never did. The defense attorney never brought out character witness to testify to the character of young Carmelo. No friends, teachers, coaches, none of that. And the only one they used as a character witness was his mom. Now, the court knows the mom is going to be in favor of the son. So that's not going to sway the jury, because that's to be expected. So, defense attorney, why you didn't get the teachers, his friends, maybe other people in the neighborhood, his teammates? Why you didn't get any of those people as character witnesses? The defense attorney failed them, y'all. Now, don't get me wrong. We don't know the complete circumstances of what happened, and, we can all say, and which is true, that we lost two young men. We lost two young men through this. We got one young man that was unalive, and we got another young man that's, going to jail. So it's a lose-lose situation. But it's a lot of things that was left open during the trial. And for the defense attorney to not bring in character witness, not necessarily trying to rebuttal what the prosecution was presenting. It makes you think. Was this young man getting bullied? Why did he feel that he needed to bring a knife to school? See, all those questions haven't been brought up, especially during the trial. So don't you think if somebody being on trial for murder, that should come up? Let's put this in reverse. Let's put this in reverse. If that was a white young man who unalived a black young man, just like how they did Trayvon Martin and all these other young black brothers, they'll try to find the worst to make it justifiable why this young white young man did what he did. Remember, that's how they did Trayvon Martin and them guys. Like George Floyd, he was on drugs. That's how he, died. See, that's what they do to us, but they didn't do that to that young white man. But when something happened to us, they try to figure out, well, this person was this type of, they're trying to find a fault in us. That's how they do us. So it's crazy. Then, they end up giving that young man 35 years. 35 years. 35 years. He eligible for parole, say 17 and a half years. He'll be eligible for parole. That young man's life is over. And ain't no telling what type of trauma he's going to encounter in the penitentiary. He's just 18 years old. He looked like a kid. That young man might not survive in the penitentiary. And to me, for them to charge that young man with first-degree murder, because I thought first-degree murder, you had to prove, it was premeditated. It was planned. I haven't heard nothing about he had planned on unaliving them young guys. So he had to premeditate to unalive that young man who he unalived, in my opinion, for it to be first-degree murder. Which what is told was not the case, but they still charged him with first-degree murder. Why is that? Because of the force that he used. But that's not first-degree murder. That's just like if I have a weapon on me and somebody try to come rob me and I unalive him before he get me. I'm not premeditating to unalive this person. This person came to me. I just defended myself. That's not premeditation murder. That's not first-degree murder. That's not first-degree murder. Now, they would charge that young man with manslaughter. I think that would have been a proper charge. But they went at him with first-degree murder. And they got it. And they got it. If anybody know about Texas, anybody who live in Texas, anybody who lived in Frisco, I knew somebody who lived in Frisco. Frisco is the suburb of Dallas. That you do have some prejudiced people there, because that's more of an upscale neighborhood, Frisco. What's up, Muso? Well, I guess they say it was premeditated because he brought the knife to school. I guess that's why they said it's premeditated. Because at first they was trying to say it was a legal weapon. But it's legal in Texas. It has to be a certain length for it to be illegal. So the length of his knife, it was legal. So they couldn't use that. They couldn't put that he brought a legal weapon to the track meet. So they just went by his use of force when he was encountered by them young men. So that's how they did it. And like I say, the defense attorney was no better. But like I said, the, the defense attorney didn't bring in no character witnesses for the young man. None during the trial. And see, the trickery thing of it is now, like I say, when it was first reported, now, the guy who was unalive, now he had a twin brother that was there. Now, him and his twin brother, the one who approached Carmelo in the tent. They say the one who was unalive, he was bigger. He was like 6 feet, kind of big, 200 pounds or whatever. But the other brother was smaller. So when they approached Carmelo, I guess they told Carmelo to leave. He wouldn't leave because it was raining or whatever. And it's supposed to been they supposed to had approached him or whatever. So he defended himself. But the thing of it was, see, this is how I say the defensive attorney failed Carmelo. Like I said, two brothers approached him. But what the prosecution did, the other brother who was there didn't tell the truth. He didn't tell that he was in on it, or they left that out. And you know why? Because if it had came out that he was with his brother harassing Carmelo, his stance on stand your ground would have been valid. Self-defense would have been valid. But by the other brother not coming forward and the other brother not telling the truth, Carmelo couldn't use that self-defense. See, the defensive attorney for Carmelo screwed him all the way over. Pause. Carmelo lawyers screwed him. Pause. But I'm sure it's going to be an appeal. I'm sure of that. But I tell you though, his defense attorney screwed him all the way over. All the way. And it's a shame. It's a doggone shame. Now this young man is going to have to get sentenced to 35 years in prison. Another young black man whose life is ruined. Whose life is ruined. That is crazy. That is crazy. Thank you, man. Hey, people. That's why I love to show and teach history. Because the laws is not built for black people. The Constitution, all that shit is not made for black people. I was always taught the laws are made for the crooked. And why they say the laws is made for the crooked? Because if you got money, you can get a lawyer that'll find different holes in the law. Because there's so many holes in the law. You know, you just have to, first of all, you have to know the law. And most lawyers know the law. So the more money you spend on a lawyer and how good that lawyer is, that lawyer will find the holes in every law. Falls. That's all it is. Oh, the officer didn't read him his rights. Got him. Oh, the officer walked on, piles of evidence and destroyed it. Got him. And most of these other lawyers, people have to remember, they work for the court. They work for the court. So if you really ain't got no money, using a public defender or a low cost lawyer, they not gonna work as hard for you because they're not necessarily getting paid. And the public defenders, they work for the court, they work for the judge, they work for the prosecution. That's how a lot of us black men or black women get caught up, especially when you use a public defender. So they don't necessarily work for you, they work for the courts. Only job they have is to make sure you have proper representation. That's it. They ain't there to try to get you off. What's up, CX2? They're not there to try to get you off. And that's real talk. You know? They are not there to get you off. So you think they are? You got another thing coming. And that's for real. See, 'cause I heard different opinions. Well, maybe, Carmelo should have did this, if he knew how to fight, he probably would have to pull out that knife. Well, we can't expect everybody to know how to fight. When somebody getting bullied, if you've never been bullied before, you don't know how it feels. You can say what you should have done and all this, but you don't know how a person who's being bullied feels. A person that's being bullied is terrified. So we can't say what we would have done, or he should have fought, or parents should have taught him how to fight. No, we can't say that. We can't say that. But we don't know what's going on in the person's mind who's being bullied. It's a reason why a lot of these kids who are being bullied hurt themselves or underlie themselves. So if you've never been bullied, you don't know what's that like. You don't know what it's like. And like I say, he coming from a nice suburb city of Dallas, Frisco. You know, he probably never had to fight a day in his life. And he was a young man. He probably never had to fight. But you find yourself getting bullied. See, people, if you never lived in Texas, Texas is a trip. Texas is a trip. And I believe that young man was getting bullied. Because, see, the way they try to make it sound is like a young man was going to school in the inner city. So he just carrying a weapon on him, just to be carrying a weapon on him. Nah, nah. This dude live in the influential community suburb in Dallas, in Texas, where he's not seeing all that shit that's going on in the city because he's in the suburb. So it has to be a reason why he decided to bring that knife that day. Or just to carry it. It had to be a reason. Well, they don't want to tell you that. The defense attorney failed to bring that up. And like I said, the defense attorney failed to bring us some character witnesses to vouch for his character. But you're going to wait until after the jury found him guilty. Then in the sentencing hearing, then you want to bring up a character witness. And the character witness was his mother. That's it. Come on, man. I could have represented Carmelo better than that. I would have known to get some people who can vouch for his character. I would have known that. So you can ask yourself, was this a setup? Was this racially motivated? You can bring that up. Because let me add again that I didn't say. I forgot to mention. It was an all-white jury. I know. See, that's what they do, Silent Blinky. Blicky. That's what they do with us. See, they criminalize us. You know, just like I said, if the roles were reversed and the young white man unalived the young black man, they would have found all kind of faults in that young black man. Just like how they did George Floyd and Trayvon Martin and these other young guys. Same thing. That's how they do us. That's how they do us. But you hear nothing bad about that young white boy. It was all on Carmelo. And like they said, like I said, they kept his twin brother out of it because if the twin brother was put in it, he would have had a case of self defense, stand your ground. See, and the defense attorney probably knew that, but he didn't do nothing about it. That's why I say it could have been a trap. That's just my opinion. The way it looked, you got to wonder. This dude's defense attorney is a lawyer, and I could have done better than him, and I'm not a lawyer. What that tell you? It's crazy. Now this young man, gonna have to when he get out of jail, he'll be probably 35, 36 years old. He'll be about 35 years old when he get out of jail. His whole adult life gone. That's if he survived. It's gone. In my opinion, people, I'm praying for Carmelo, and I'm also praying for his parents. Because I know his parents is taking it hard. Because they said after they read the verdict, his parents just walked out the courtroom. I wouldn't be surprised his parents moved from where they lived at. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think his parents gonna really take it hard. Their young son locked up. That's sad, man. That is sad. But hey, that's where we live. This is where we live. This is where we say we free, right? Then they say we free. That's why I say we still not free. We still not free. We still getting discriminated against. We still looked at low class citizens. As Dr. Dre say, still. We still. We got better opportunities to do things, but it's still some type of roadblock in the midst. We still not free. We still not free. So, man, It's crazy. It's crazy. Uh, there's something else I want to talk about. Remember I told you guys about Fred Hampton, leader of the Black Panthers section in Chicago. But I got an interview with the informant who perpetrated the Black Panthers to set up Fred Hampton. Now this guy, he gave an interview. I can't think of the year, but after he gave his interview, he felt so guilty and remorse. This dude, after the interview, just walked onto the highway in Chicago and unalived himself because he felt that much guilty. He felt that guilty because what he done messed up a whole movement. Got one great leader unalive because of his actions. But this informant is William O'Neal. His name is William O'Neal. He was the informant that perpetrated the Black Panthers, Fred Hampton. But I want y'all to listen to how the FBI got a hold of him and how they used him. I want y'all to pay attention to that. Oh, shit. Damn, I fucked up. Okay. I want y'all to hear how they used him. Okay, here we go. It's from Strike Force TV, FBI informant William O'Neal's full interview.
Camera roll 3088, sound roll 341.
Bill, can you describe to me the circumstances under which you began working on the FBI?
It was in probably 1967. I was with a guy one night, a friend of mine, and we were drinking beer and we decided to go joyride. And we jumped in a car and stole it. And we were driving around the city of Chicago for 45 minutes and decided to leave the state to go visit a relative in another state. And we had an accident out of state. And prior to the accident, we walked in a pool hall and was shooting pool. And at the door, you had to register your phone number and address. And we wrote down our names and phone numbers, then went and shot a game of pool, and then came out and had an accident. And we fled the accident on foot. Messed around in the city a while, and then caught a bus back to Chicago. And about 3-4 months later, I got a call from this FBI agent by the name of Roy Mitchell. And told me that he knew what I had done. And we went around a couple of times, and he said something like, well, you know, and there's no need in you trying to bullshit me. I know you did it, but it's no big thing. He said, I'm sure we can work it out. And I think a few months passed before I heard from him again.
Now, see, that's how they get you. See, because, you know, you would do something, they have something on your head. So they'll tell you, well, we want you to do this. If you don't do this, this is going to happen to you. You're going to go to jail. So you have to do this. But you're going to hear that they didn't tell him that he was going to be an informant. They just, well, I ain't going to jump ahead of it. Let's continue.
And one day I got a call and he told me that it was payback time. He said that I want you to go and see if you can join the Black Panther Party, and if you can, give me a call.
Can I just interrupt you?
Yeah.
Part of that, joining the Panther Party. But tell me again how old you were and the
I think I was about 18, 19 years old. And the FBI agent's name was Roy Mitchell. And he called me up on the phone and recanted the crime, pretty much. I tried to deny it, but he had the evidence, and he said basically it was no problem, that we could work it out, that I wasn't in any serious problems that he couldn't deal with. And a few months, 3 months maybe passed before he asked me to join the Black Panther Party.
Now, what did Mitchell ask you to do?
Well, he didn't give me any specific instructions at that point. He just said,
You said because of he.
Roy said basically, just go and see if you can join the Black Panther Party. I understand they're recruiting Panther members. So why don't you go down to the office and see if you can join? If you get in, give me a call back. So the next day, I got on the bus and went down to the office of the Black Panther Party. It was located on Western and Madison. And walked in the office, about 3 or 4 Panthers in the office. And I think I was about the 5th member in the Chicago chapter to join. They had this big office building and up on the 2nd floor, they had about 5 or 6 offices. And very little personnel to run things. So positions, it was easy to get a position. So they appointed me as a security captain. That was the first time I met Fred Hampton, and he was the chairman, the spokesman for the party, and Bobby Rush was the Minister of Defense. He was Huey P. Newton's deputy, which was the top man in the state of Illinois at that time.
Excuse me. Now, Bobby Rush today, well, he's not no more. I think he retired. But Bobby Rush was an alderman here in Chicago. Was he an alt congressman? Well, I know he was political. I think he was an alderman. But Bobby Rush, he's still active in Chicago. Even today, he's still active in Chicago. Of course, he's a little older, but he's still active.
What did you think about the Panthers at that time? What framework did you understand them in? What did you thought about the civil rights movement? How did they fit into your understanding of politics?
I grew up in a middle class neighborhood, and I had very little idea of I was apolitical. The Panthers I had heard of only from a recent article, I think, that had occurred in the paper. Huey P. Newton had just been in a shootout with the Oakland Police Department, and one of them had died. And there was a lot of press about that. But prior to the articles I had read about Huey P. Newton, I knew nothing of the Black Panther Party. In fact, the day I joined, I was pretty sure it was just another gang, not unlike the Blackstone Rangers or other Cobras or something. I had no idea of anything about their politics.
What did you begin to look?
See, the Black Panthers wasn't like a gang. It wasn't a gang. They was helping black folks, especially learning their constitutional rights, learning their rights, and self-efficient. To be about self. Let us know that we are strong, trying to uplift black people. That was the Black Panther Party. See, but the FBI wanted to classify them as terrorists, as a gang, which they wasn't. The Black Panther Party was far from a gang. But by them uplifting black people in different neighborhoods and doing what they was doing, helping black people, that's what made them a threat. Because like we learned through history, they want us to depend on them. They don't want us to be, self-efficient. They don't want us to come together and be strong. They don't want that. Let's continue.
Education did join, and what kind of information were you able to give back to this?
Well, almost immediately after I joined the Panthers, probably within 10 days, I began to realize that the Black Panther Party was a little bit more sophisticated than a gang. The orientation process, the attention they gave to the political climate around the country had me going there for a while. And at one point, well, yeah, okay. They had, I think the first set of reference books I saw inside the Black Panther Party was the selected works of Mao Zedong, which I had begun to associate with communism. And it wasn't too long thereafter that I started seeing books like the Manifesto, the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx, and then the selected works of collected works of Lenin. And every night after the office closed, the Panthers would sit down and they would study these books. We'd go to political orientation. We would read certain paragraphs, and then Fred Hampton and Rush would explain to us, the new membership, basically what it meant and what was happening, and they drew parallels to what was going on in past revolutions in the various countries, like, for instance, China or Russia, and they was drawing parallels to what was going on in the current political scene within the United States. So they were drawing associations between the revolutions in the communist countries, as I understood it, as to what was happening in the United States, and so I understood them to be a little bit more sophisticated than a gang. I expected that it would be weapons and we would be out there doing turf battles with the local gang members, but they weren't about that at all. They were into the political scene, the war in Vietnam, Richard Nixon, and specifically freeing Huey. That was the thing.
See, he thought Black Panther was a game, but he got to learn. Just like the Black Panther was like how what I'm doing here on YouTube. And I'm not trying to put myself on that scale, but I'm just trying to explain what the Black Panthers did. The Black Panthers taught Black awareness. Like how I show history and parallel to what's going on today. That's what the Black Panthers did. See, the Black Panthers wasn't a gang. It wasn't a gang at all. They was people who trying to uplift Black people, because you think of the political climate back then in the 60s. It was terrible. So they tried to uplift the Black community. They tried to teach the Black community. But that's one thing they didn't like. So they try to put all these labels. Just like I said, Like when the white person kill a black person, instead of them digging in that white person background, they say, well, this black person was this and this and that. You know, that's how they did the Black Panthers.
Heston report this information back to Mitchell. Did he have a response? Did he react to this?
Well, initially,
What's up, Dwayne?
Agent Mitchell requested very little information from me. It was a one-way street for probably about 6 months. I think he was, in every meeting that I had with him, he listened more than he asked questions. The typical meeting would be, okay, what are they doing today? And then I would just tell him what was going on around the office in general conversation. He said, okay, and what are you doing? And then I tell him what I was doing, and then he'd make mental notes. Sometimes he took shorthand notes, and then we'd depart. He said, okay, just keep me informed. And so we had a very loose relationship at that point because the Panthers weren't too active militarily. Okay, they were politically organizing at that point. They were recruiting at that point. The Panthers were trying to, they had speaking engagements at the different colleges and so forth. So we were in an organizing process, and there was very little criminal activity, as I could determine what's going on. Very little to report to the FBI, in my mind, because I felt like since the FBI was an investigative body investigating federal crimes, that crimes were what they were looking at. And so,
tell me a little bit about how you felt about working for the FBI. What motivated you, and what you thought, what edge you thought you were serving?
Well, in my community, the policemen it was the quickest way to gain respect. I think I grew up wanting to be a policeman, admiring and respecting policemen, although I always thought it was outside of my reach. My neighborhood was not unlike most people that grow up in Chicago. Most young people, we were very mischievous and did a lot of juvenile type, petty criminal type things. But stealing a car and all of a sudden having the FBI, having a case with the FBI that thought of really going to jail, got my attention. And so when he asked me to join the Black Panther Party, and he used terms, he never used the word informant. He always said, you're working for me. And I associated him as the FBI. So all of a sudden, I was working for the FBI, which...
Hold on. You say he always wanted to be a policeman growing up. Okay, you doing this and you doing that. You stealing cars. You commit all these type of crimes. Then all of a sudden the FBI agent calls you and tells you to join the Black Panthers Party. Now, he never told you he wants you to be an informant. But by the FBI agent coming at you and asking you to do this and telling you that you work for him. So you thinking all of a sudden you're an FBI agent, you working for the FBI. What's up, Anthony? That's I don't know. To me, that just, in my opinion, that shows he ain't too smart. I see why they picked him. God rest his soul. I see why they picked him. Because he didn't seem too smart. Let's continue.
In my mind at that point, I associated with being an FBI agent. So I felt good about it. I felt like I was working undercover for the FBI, doing something good for the finest police organization in America. And so I was pretty proud.
Jack, great.
Judge Max, 30.
Cameron,
Cover roll number 3089.
did you ever think, or did Mitchell ever try to convince you that the Black Panthers were a threat to national security? I don't understand what the FBI's was.
Okay, the lady asked him, did the FBI agent ever tell him that, or showed him that they are a threat to national security or part of a terroristic, group or whatever? That's what the lady, I don't know if you can hear her, but that's what she asked him.
Well, I think Mitchell, the relationship between I and Mitchell concentrated on the local activities. We talked very little about what was going on nationally early on in the game. Later on, when Bobby Seale and the guys would come to town, it took on a national scope. But right then and there, we were concentrated on the local chapter. And later on, I understood that his thinking in that regard, he wanted me to build up some credibility within the Black Panther Party. So he gave me a lot of room, a lot of leash at that point. He let me become a Panther before I became an FBI informant. I mean, I didn't go right in, rifling draws. He directed me into the Panthers, and then when I got there, he backed off, and he let them work on me a while. And slowly it worked. I became a Black Panther in a way. I forgot the scope of me being there. In fact, I didn't really know why I was there. I just knew I was to report, but I really didn't have anything to report early on in the game. So I concentrated mainly on Panther duties. I lived the life of a Panther.
How did you, what was your thinking, and how did you rise up to the ranks of the party?
Well, mainly from day one, we had very little personnel, a lot of spots to fill. There were a lot of activity, a lot of things to do. And so naming positions at that point and filling those positions were really the leadership's responsibility at that point. And because of my knowledge of electronics and, I was just a handyman basically around the office, and we had this office building that they felt like wasn't too secure. I started working right away to secure the building, and in that regard, I fell right into the security position. And it got more sophisticated as donations started to flow. As the membership increased as a result of speaking engagements on the school campuses and so forth, my responsibilities doubled. And so I was given a staff of security people. And I just advanced from that point on.
What?
What's up, Shotty? Yeah, oh man. So they told him to join and they let him get in there good. Because like they say, they didn't bother him, they didn't contact him all that time while he was in the Black Party at first. Because like he said, he really didn't have nothing to report to the FBI in it anyway. Because they wasn't doing nothing illegal. Like I say, all they was doing was like uplifting people. And see, around this time, this is when the Chicago branch really started. Because as he said, it wasn't as many personnel. So part of their job, the higher ranks, was to hire people in different positions. So he got himself pretty, they gave him a chance to get himself pretty, to get deep in it. Then when you got deep in it,
What were the major developments during that that year of the Panther Party that you saw? Was it the programs? Was it the alliances that the party was building? What was the Panther agenda as you understand it?
To free Huey, basically was the agenda of the Black Panther Party all along. Let it be no mistake, Huey P. Newton was locked down. The Black Panther Party was Huey P. Newton, and Huey P. Newton was the Black Panther Party. And no matter how powerful or strong our membership got in the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party, no matter how many speaking engagements Hampton had, how many donations we had, how many papers, there was always a national office out there to remind us that we were subservient to the national office, that we were just a chapter and we weren't the Illinois Black Panther Party, that we was the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. And their goals at that point was to free their leader, who was locked down in Alameda County Jail, facing the death penalty for killing a police officer. The party recognized that at that point that they needed liaisons, they needed alliances with various groups in order to survive, basically in the climate in Chicago. So they embraced the various political issues that was of the day. They got involved in all types of causes, mainly to fortify their position and to free their leader, Huey P. Newton. And he was effectively running the Black Panther Party from inside of the jails. Most of our political direction was mandated, came out through his lawyers, and was passed on nationally through the chapters. It was Huey Speaks.
So Huey P. Newton was running shit from jail. So their main objective was to find a way or get a way to get the free Huey P. Newton. That was their main goal.
Okay, you tell me about how things changed as
Well, I said from February 1969, the activities within the party was high speed. We were in our bloom. We had about 500 members. We were selling probably about 25,000 new.
Okay, now he's talking about when the chapter, Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party got to its height. This is when, the FBI started getting nervous of Fred Hampton. Because see, at first when they were small, because you heard them say, he didn't hear from the FBI agents. When they were little small rats, he didn't hear from the FBI agent, the FBI. But watch when they telling 69, February 69, and when they larger got more members, watch what happened.
Newspapers in the city of Chicago every week, or the Panther newspaper, that is. We had various members of our party, of the Black Panther Party, going to the colleges all over the state, speaking engagements. Donations were coming in to the tune of about $1,500, $2,000 a day. But at the same time, the Chicago police had stepped up their activities also. A lot of the members were being arrested on petty charges. So the money we were bringing in on one hand in donations, money that came through the mail anonymously, blank checks and money orders, was going right out in bail money. So it was intense. And in that regard, the Black Panther Party was everywhere and doing everything. We had 500 members and everybody was aggressive. And it was hard for me to report on all of the activities that were occurring. I could only concentrate on what my little group was doing. I was as security captain. I was in what was called the defense cadre. It was technically under Bobby Rush's command because he was the Deputy Minister of Defense, and then during that year, we considered we were in a state of war. Our leader was locked down. The police was attacking officers all over the country. They was trying to break us financially through bail. And so the Minister of Defense takes over in a situation like that. Fred Hampton was in charge mainly with speaking engagements, public relations, reaching the people, recruiting, and things of that nature. He was chief spokesman. He was the one that the cameras saw all the time. Bobby Rush and our group was the operations. We were activities at that point. It was our job to defend the officers against the police, to get members out of jail, to discipline the members, to kind of, maintain the police control of the organization, to deal with informants and so forth.
That's the part that was growing up. What was Mitchell started asking about? Or how was the relationship with Mitchell changing?
Well, Mitchell was part of a squad, in my opinion, of about 5 to 10 agents, and each one of them had their little, had their little activities within the Black Panther Party. Mitchell's questions were defined mainly to my area. He never asked me how many newspapers that someone else was selling, or who got the Kellogg's for the Breakfast for Children program, or who's going to open up the medical center. He wasn't concerned with that. He was concerned with my activities in the Panthers, which at that point was exclusively security issues. We were buying weapons at that point. We didn't have any type of working relationship with the largest street gang at that time, which was the Blackstone Rangers. They had about 2,000 members and were well armed. And at some point, the meeting was arranged. We met with Jeff Ford of the Blackstone Rangers, and at that meeting, we were in a Catholic church. I remember that night we were setting up, and Jeff Ford told Fred Hampton, there is not going to be any Black Panthers in the city of Chicago. You guys either join the Blackstone Rangers or get out of the city. And Hampton came away from that meeting feeling like we were going to eventually have to do battle with these guys. There was no compromise. They couldn't associate, the Blackstone Rangers couldn't associate our purpose politically with their gang turf thing. So we were going to have to deal with them. So the word went out to me to basically start buying weapons. We also knew that the state's attorney had declared war on us, and pretty soon we were going to face a raid in one of our offices. And the mentality at that time was that.
So that's wild. So Jeff Ford threatened Fred Hampton now to get out of town. That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's continue. I'm just stunned on that, man. Anyway, let's go.
That we know it's coming. Our job is to set an example for the people. We must be ready. And so we started fortifying the offices and buying guns and training our soldiers, the security people.
I want to talk now about the events. Oh, all right. Let's just stop that. Yes.
Stop that.
Yeah, the whole story.
You want to know, right now you're focused on why I went to the first connection. Okay.
He stole the car and he called you back and told you
Okay.
he could get you off the hook if.
Okay. Well, he didn't say that, but okay. Well, am I ready now? Well, simply, I stole the car and took it across the state line. The FBI had a case on me. they could either prosecute me and put me in jail or decline to prosecute because I assisted them in one of their investigations. I think I understood that. So the day he called and asked me to join the Black Panther Party, I understood what my role was to be. And that's what I did. That's it. Good.
So that's why he did it, which I knew. They say either you do this, and we forget about what you've done. If you don't do that, if you don't do what we ask you to do, you're going to jail. What's up, KTC? So, oh, wow.
Mitchell, okay. Okay, it's simple. I stole a car and went across the state line. Violated federal law. Mitchell, agent from the FBI, had a case on me. He had a choice of either prosecuting me and sending me to jail or declining to prosecute as a result of me aiding him in another case. And I decided to take the latter. When he asked me to join the Black Panther Party, I did so, and I understood what my role was to be.
We didn't quite catch it, I think, but.
That's a roll.
Well, you can do it again.
Tell me that, and tell me the ambitious FBI agent.
Well, a typical meeting between my FBI contact, Mitchell, would be downtown Chicago at 12 noon, down in the basement of at some bar, some dark bar, and I would meet him at the bar. He'd be there when I got in there, and he'd have a drink, and I'd have a drink, and we'd sit there and talk for 15 or 20 minutes, and it was very casual. I mean, it was like I'd come in, and he said, "Oh, what you up to?" And then I'd say, "Well, I'm going down to Champaign. I'm speaking engagement with Fred, and I'm taking such and such with me, and we're carrying guns, and we're driving this car." And like I just rattle it off, 10 or 15 minutes. I tell him everything I knew, and he didn't have to say very much, because when I joined the Black Panther Party, most of the information that I was giving him at that time was new information to him. So as I grew inside of the party and began to learn things, he grew also. So he knew the members better than I did. We talked about the girlfriends and who was, pregnant and who had a venereal disease, and this was just casual conversation between he and I. He wasn't always writing, but he put in his files. I still don't have the benefit of, but I know after a while, he and I became friends. And we talked in casual conversation about what I was doing in the Black Panther Party. Well, the whole nature of that relationship changed right around maybe November 13, when 2 police officers were killed by a Black Panther member named Jake Winters on the south side of Chicago. That night, as I understand the gun battle, Jake Winters straddled one of the officers who were wounded in the shootout and performed a coup de grace, a mercy killing. He straddled the officer after the officer was down and put a shotgun to his head and put him out of his misery. Or at least that's the way the newspaper described it. And I think the whole city, I think the Black Panthers took the rap for that one when they really didn't deserve it. Because Jake Winters was out there on his own. He wasn't out there on any official member mission for the Black Panther Party. He was out there on his own, and he got into a altercation with a guy, and the guy called the police, and the police came, and the shootout broke out, and 2 police officers were killed, and Jake Winters were killed. Well, the Panthers took the heat because Jake Winters was a Black Panther. And past that point, I noticed maybe a couple of days after this officer was killed, Mitchell had this grim, solemn atmosphere about himself, and I could tell he was looking for he wanted specific criminal violations. He wanted something that he could move on, and I think he may have implied or even expressed that at 1 or 2 points. He expressed his anger over what had happened, the total disregard for life, and that was the first time I ever saw him express his personal opinion about what he thought the Black Panthers were doing.
They want to get you focused.
Yeah, shit changed. Kill wasn't his own. But see, that's, it's kind of fucked up. See, it normally happen that way. If you're affiliated with somebody and the affiliation is known, and if this other person go out and do something that's totally stupid, they're gonna associate you with that because you and that person was cool. So just because he in the Black Panthers organization, now he went, like you say, he went out on his own. He got into a fight on his own. So since he unalived these two officers, and I'm sure they unalived him back, but since he was part of the Black Panthers, they coming at the whole organization. But see, the funny thing is, that's all they needed. That's all the ammunition they need. Because like the old boy told you, it wasn't nothing really he could report to the FBI. Like he say, he knew the members almost better than he did. They was having casual conversations. But as soon as that happened, that FBI agent was coming at him with a different attitude. Now he asking for specifics.
That was November 1969. Can you describe to me the kind of information you were giving Mitchell about what was going on?
Well, he started, Mitchell became more specific during that time. He wanted to know the locations of weapons caches. He wanted to know if we had explosives. He needed to know who was staying at what locations, who spent the night where. His information didn't change so much as he requested more detail, and I knew why. The shootout on the South Side had pretty much laid the foundation. Within the party, within the Black Panthers, we knew that the police would react some type of way. We could just feel the stepped up surveillance. We could feel the pressure all the way around, and we knew something bad was going to happen. And I think we were all prepared for it. During that time, Fred was conducting quite a few speaking engagements, but even his attitude had changed somewhat within the Black Panther Party. He was becoming more reluctant to speaking engagements, to making those outward appearances. He became more reserved, more protective of himself. He very seldom traveled anywhere by himself, and he began taking 5 and 6 bodyguards with him. And he felt it also. Also, he felt like he was going to prison. He was pretty sure that the robbery conviction was going to take him out of the game. So he started preparing other members to take his role, pretty much.
There's a floor plan of the apartment on Monroe Street. And there are FBI fellows that I've seen that, but the implication has always been that some of the information came from you on reports about weapons being in the street or not. Did you get that information from Mitchell? And if so,
Well, I routinely supplied whatever floor plans or diagrams I could to the FBI. That started in June 1969. I mean, they had a floor plan and keys to the Black Panther headquarters. the specific apartment on Monroe. I supplied that floor plan. Perhaps not the one you saw, but I do remember meeting with Mitchell at one point and drawing up a diagram of the apartment. The one I've seen in court, that was a little bit more fine-tuned than the one that I, drew.
Describe the meeting where you remember getting information.
Well, the meeting was not unlike the other meetings we'd had. It was always at the same location. It was always during the daytime, and it was routine. Here again, in my mind, I knew that a raid was being planned. In my mind.
See, he knew what was happening. Because like after the two police officers got unalive, police started showing up more surveillance. What's up, Lions Den? What's the word? All type of surveillance. You know, there ain't no telling what was happening through the city. See, but Fred Hampton had a feeling. You know, he was reluctant to go on different speaking engagements. If he went somewhere, he had bodyguards. So Fred Hampton knew something was about to happen. Something was going to happen. His fear was that he was going to go back to jail. So like they say, he was preparing people to take his place if that happened. That was his fear. But see, he didn't know he had a mole within his midst. See, the FBI had another plan. See, Fred Hampton just thought they was going to send him to jail. But the FBI had another plan. And this man right here, William O'Neill, one who gave him the ammunition. Let's continue.
And I knew it. I knew also from the type of information that it would be probably a top raid, meaning the leader, one of the leader's apartments. I also knew that the most vulnerable spot was Hampton's house, because it was the one that had all the weapons in it. It was the one with the weapons. Very few of the other apartments had the kind of weapons he had at that apartment. So when he asked me for the diagram, it didn't surprise me. I knew the raid was going to be planned. I felt like at that point, what they wanted to do was catch him with weapons and seal his conviction. If he'd have been caught with the weapons out on appeal, he would have went straight to jail. And I can't recall it being expressed. I can't recall any specific conversations I've had with Mitchell about the raid, but we had such a unity of mind, so to speak. Our efforts were basically one. I understood what was going on. He didn't have to tell me. He described to me going to the funeral of two police officers that got killed, and I knew he was hurt by that, and I knew he was going to do what he could to help the police department do something about it.
The night of December, I'm sorry, please.
Hey, what's up, Maddox, Mr. Oates? See, he knew that the FBI was going to raid his house. See, but that's what he thought all the FBI was going to do was raid his house. But because of the death of them two police officers, they had different ideas. They didn't tell him, though. But amongst themselves, they had different ideas. Because as y'all know, police officers don't like when other police officers get unalive. They take that seriously. And just think about back in the 60s. You have two white police officers getting unalive black person or a person affiliated with a certain group, which was this case. So they're going to take vengeance on that so-called gang and the leader. But see, their mindset was they was going to lock him up. See, he thought they was just going to raid because they asked him about the weapons, where they keep the weapons. So they figured they was going to raid them and catch him with all them weapon charges and, you know, send him to jail. Nope. Nope.
Yes, about that.
How were you paid? How much were you paid?
Generally, I was paid in cash, and normal amounts would have ranged from $300 to $500, depending on my needs. If I requested a specific amount, I knew that I could get it. But the payments were very infrequent. I mean, aided Mitchell determined early on in the game that spending money was the quickest way to blow your cover. Also, I was living in the Panther environment. I was living in a Panther house, which they called a crib. I was eating with them and sleeping with them, and I was with them 24 hours a day. So I had very little need for money. So I was always assured that my money was being held in trust and that I could draw from it, draw down on it anytime I got ready, or anytime I had a legitimate need that wouldn't compromise my security. I suppose at any point, if I needed $1,000 or $2,000 from the FBI, I couldn't have gotten it.
How often did you meet with Mitchell?
Depending on my travel schedule, and later on within the Black Panther Party, I was traveling around a lot as a bodyguard to Hampton and so forth, and everywhere he went, I went. So the meetings became infrequent as the activities picked up. Normally once a week. In the fall of 1969, it had gotten down to about once a week. And past that point, it was just telephonic contact. Yes.
That's about that.
Talk me through the events of the evening of December 3rd, what you did, where you were.
December 3rd. It was cold that day. It was really a slow day. We were at the office. Hampton was there. Rush was there. The general staff was there. Wasn't too much activity going on streetwise because the weather was so cold. It's a melancholy kind of day. It just came and went. Got down to the evening. We all decided to walk the block from the office to Hampton's house and eat dinner. The women were cooking dinner, a big dinner, I think we had chili and big pot of spaghetti, and most of us that had labored at the office were looking forward to just going over there and eating dinner and reading and just being together. It was just a slow day. It was the last day it was the last type of day where we think that anything was going to happen. It was just too quiet. Nothing was happening. Totally off guard.
There are conflicting autopsy reports that Fred Hampton may or may not have been drugged. There are stories about whether or not you brought Fred Hampton food or drink. Do you have any information? Whether he was drugged?
Fred Hampton.
Now, the lady asked, because it stories out, because, you know, Freddie Hampton was unalived in his bed while he was asleep. So the story out that somebody had drugged him with some type of drug where he couldn't wake up. So that's how the police were so easy to get him while he was asleep. So the lady just asked him, William O'Neal, was that true? Was the story true that was going around that he was drugged? That's the reason why he couldn't get up. Let's see what he say.
Drugged. I've never known Fred. I knew him for about 16 months. I've been with him in a lot of different situations. We've been in hotels together. We've been out, he and I alone in the car. I've never known Fred to take drugs. And to take it a step further, Fred would not tolerate anyone even smoking marijuana around him. And I don't think any of us in the hierarchy of the Black Panther Party would dare get drunk or drink. So alcohols and drugs were a no-no. As far as the rumors that he was drugged that night, unless he was on some type of medication, I think it was just rhetoric. I think it was fabricated. As far as the insinuation that myself or someone else in the house would have drugged Fred Hampton, I don't buy it. There's just no way. Fred was the type of person that you didn't have to drug anyway. Fred was always tired. He could get in a car and we couldn't ride 2 blocks without him dozing off. I mean, he was a high energy person that ran on very little fuel, and wherever he sat down, he was well rested. I've never believed that. I mean,
In the days prior to December 3rd, had you given Mitchell specific information about what this?
well, I can recall we had a couple of conversations, but where I told him basically what was in various apartments, and the apartment on Monroe was not unlike the office and so forth. He had a running knowledge pretty much of where the weapons were, what weapons were there, and so forth. I can recall probably around the second or the third verifying that certain weapons were sealed as previously reported. Yeah, I can recall having a conversation or two about weapons.
How did you learn about the police raid on the Meadow Street apartment?
Well, the following day, I went directly to the office, and the office was empty, unusually empty. It was one girl sitting around the desk, and she was on the phone, and there was just no people there. And I walked in, I guess it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I walked in, and I was waiting on her to get off the phone to ask, what was up. And I saw a copy of Sun-Times lantern, and had his picture on there, and had Panther leader slain on it. And boy, I felt bad. I felt just, and I remember walking out of the office and looking through a little clearing over on the next block, which was right in front of the Monroe Street address, and seeing a lot of police cars over there. And at that time, Bobby Rush came to the office. He had just come from over there, or maybe the coroner's office. In any case, we walked back over there, and we both were speechless. We just walked to the house and saw what had taken place and where he died, and it was shocking. That was that was. I think it was that morning that I began to feel that I felt really. I mean, everything that I had done flashed before me. I began to put it all together, pretty much, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just shocking, and that he had died.
What did you begin to put together?
The information, the information leading up to the raid, the attitudes, and the whole thing. I mean, you just felt it in the wind. You knew something bad was going to happen. I felt like it would be a raid. I knew it would be a raid. I mean, 2 police officers had got killed. I knew it would be a raid, but I didn't feel like anyone would get killed, especially.
And that's what I said earlier. See, he knew it was going to be a raid. But see, he didn't know the intentions of the police. Police didn't give a fuck about them guns. That was just something to justify what, to justify what they was about to do. Their main mission was to unalive the leader. To cut the head paws off the snake. That was their main mission. And you can tell as he found out that Fred Hampton was slain, he felt bad about it because he knew all the information he gave, they used to complete that mission. He's starting to see that now. He's starting to put two and two together. He's starting to put two and two together.
Not Fred. Yeah. So, yeah, I was shocked. I felt a little. I didn't feel like I had done anything. I didn't walk in there with guns. I didn't shoot him. FBI didn't do it. I felt somewhat like I was betrayed. I felt like if anyone should have known it was going to be a raid that morning, I should have known also. I felt like I could have been caught in that raid. I was there that night, and I felt like if I'd have laid down, I probably would have been a victim. So I felt betrayed. I felt like I was expendable. I felt like perhaps I was on the wrong side.
Yeah, you was expendable. You was expendable. What the hell you thought? They used you. They used him. They used him to help bring down another black man. They used him. They put something over his head to get the information they needed. Told them, boy, you working for me. I get in touch with you when I need you. First, go join the Black Panther Party. You do that first. I get back with you when I need you. Then when they need them, they used them. Hey, boy, give us that flow plan. I know, where's all his weapons at? Where he keep his weapons? How is the flow plan in the apartment? Where do Fred Hampton sleep? They use you. See, but now you mad because not only did you find out they used you, they use you as collateral damage because you would have stayed there overnight after y'all ate. If you would have stayed there, you'd be unalive just like them other people that was there. You know why? Because they didn't tell you they was going to raid that day. So you were just in the blind as the other Black Panthers members. You was collateral damage. You did all that, and you turned out to be collateral damage. Yeah.
Yeah, I had my misgivings. I'm not gonna sit here now and take the responsibility for the raid. I'm not going to do that. I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't issue the warrant. I didn't put the guns in the apartment. So I'm not going to take responsibility for that. But I do feel like I was betrayed. I felt like I should have known the raid was coming down. I felt like it was probably excessive. I felt like it was a surgical strike, and I was real angry for quite a few days. I refused to have any contact with Roy Mitchell at that point, but I think he pretty much understood too. We got together and had a few drinks, and he didn't take any responsibility for it either. He said basically he didn't know it was going to occur, which at that point was hard for me to believe.
He lied.
Just began to understand basically how serious and deadly the game we had all been playing for 16 months. The reality of what we were doing just came to bear on us that morning. I think the membership was automatically decreased by 300 members that never showed up again when that happened. I think that all of our enemies, all of the Black Panther Party's enemies came out of the woodwork to capitalize on the situation. Bobby Rush was angry for quite a few days about all of the national leaders that showed up to lend support to the Black Panthers, who wouldn't sit down and have a conference with him early in the game. All of those people that showed up at Freddie Hampton's funeral and looked over his coffin didn't give him 10 minutes of their time when he was alive.
Stop now.
Ain't that something? And they do that shit today. All these so-called black leaders. They didn't give this man a time of day. When he was alive. Now at his funeral, you want to come speak at his funeral. You want to praise him at his funeral. Man, get the fuck out of here.
My recruitment by the FBI was very efficient, very simple, really. I'd stolen a car and went joyriding over the state limit, and they had a potential case against me, and I was looking for an opportunity to work it off. And a couple of months later,
that's pretty much it, because you're gonna keep going back. But that's crazy. They used that brother. Then after he realized, hey, they said, I'm like collateral damage. Then he want to feel bad. He didn't even want to get mad at the FBI. See, in my opinion, he felt bad about that shit. Because of his part, a black leader is unalived. And see, I believe this interview, in my opinion, triggered a lot of hurt that he had. I really believe that. Because for him, from after doing this interview, to go out and walk in the midst of traffic on the highway to unalive yourself, you have to be troubled. After he did this interview, he walked in the midst of traffic in Chicago and unalived himself. So that's the story, man. And this happened all the time. They use one of us to bring us down. Now they use, in my opinion, politicians. Hey, Mr. Kyle, good morning. You know, they use politicians. That's why they always say you need to listen to people's policies instead of going on who you like, because they'll put a person that looks like you in front of you, but don't mean you know damn good. Don't have your best interest at heart. Because you ain't gonna find a politician that gonna do everything that our community needs or whatever. You ain't gonna find that. But you just want a politician who at least give us a chance to get what we want. That's all you want, a chance. Then I can go get it. That's all you want. Cause no politician gonna totally do everything for you. See, there you go on that depending on the government shit. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to depend on them. You just don't want the government to block your opportunity. So you don't have to depend on them. That's all you want. It's crazy. But yeah, but like I mentioned earlier, man, it's a shame for Carmelo Anthony. You know, in my opinion, I don't think he was represented well. And it's a shame, man. I'm surprised I don't see these so-called black leaders jumping down there. Because his representation was crazy. What was that guy Crunk at? What Crunk, whoever his name is? He's always at somewhere where, you know, a black person getting underlined by a white person. What about this case? This guy wasn't represented well, in my opinion. I'm not condoning what he did, but you got to find out, in my opinion, the reason why this happened. It's a deep reason why this happened. What's up? Hey, YC. Hey, after the night, we gonna see what's happening, bro. You know. So I wanna know where all these big time famous lawyers is, man. Who always jump on these other cases. Where all these motherfuckers at? For him to be charged first degree murder, man, that's crazy. But anyway, this to be continued. See if they appeal and see what go on. But yeah, okay. Yeah, YC, yeah, they better win tonight. They better make sure Trump ain't there. Trump jinxed their ass. Yeah, yeah. That's the problem, Miss Chicago. Whew, Miss Chicago. That's why I talk about what I talk about. Cause it's pretty soon, like you say, Miss Chicago, it's gonna go back to that. Like Jim Crow and all that shit. It's gonna go back to that. People think it's a joke. People think it's a joke, Miss Chicago. People think it's a joke, man. It's serious business. It's serious business. Oh, so I just want to know what all these excuse me, so high class lawyers. I don't know where they at. Because if I can look at it and say, damn, that young Carmelo had bad representation. If I can see that, and I'm not a lawyer, I know y'all see it, y'all so-called lawyers. Exactly, Miss Chicago. That's how most of y'all of them are. That's how most of y'all of them are. It's sad to say some of these black leaders today, you can't trust. But some of them can speak a good game. They can speak a good game. That's for real. See, they almost like pimps. They know what to say to draw you in. When they draw you in, they got you. If you weak minded, see, you won't catch it. Yeah. I don't know, Miss Chicago. You had an officer pat you down? I thought they still did that. I ain't know they changed it. I ain't know they changed it. I ain't know they did. I ain't know they started letting men pat down women. That's some crazy shit. That's what I gotta ask. I gotta ask one of my buddies about that. I ain't know. Maybe it's in certain states. 'Cause I thought they still had to get a female officer. I think you know what, Miss Chicago. I think if they like they have to strip search or something, they have to call a female probably. But general search, I don't think they have to call a female officer. I think that's how it is. But they gotta, strip search, look at all their cavities and all that shit. I think they have to call a female officer. But general search and pat down, I'm sure you can't pat between her legs and shit. For a general pat down, I think in her breast. I don't know shit in Chicago. Shit, don't give me the line. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing. The reason why I'm guessing is because, some situations, if you don't have a female officer present, you have to wait for a female officer to come. Anything can happen between that time if you don't search that person. Oh no, I wasn't I didn't say that, disrespect. I just asked. I was just asking why you asked that question. Okay, now I know why you asked that question. I don't think a man can. But like I say, it probably was on YouTube because it don't supposed to happen. I don't know. But I think that's still in effect though. They have to call a female. But a lot of these guys um got female partners. Like uniform, they got female partners. So it'd be a male and a female. So it ain't too much of a process where they have to wait for a female officer to come. Because, it's more females in the police that's in the police force now. So, yeah. But see, now they got more female officers now. So most of the partners is like male, female. Because I know a young lady who grew up in my neighborhood. She a police officer. And her partner is a male. You might find two male detectives playing cards, together. But uniform, you'll see like male, female. You'll see a few male, male, but you see male, female too. What's up, Sint? Yeah, you'll see that. Yeah. So, oh no, no, I ain't saying you sensitive. No, I ain't saying you sensitive. I know you're not sensitive, but Chicago. That was Chicago, your name. We ain't sensitive in Chicago. Oh, we ain't got room to be sensitive in Chicago. Yeah, but yeah. So I want to thank everybody who came through, man. I got a few things to do. I was on here a couple of hours. I wanted to talk about. I had to talk about that Carmelo Anthony. I wanted to go on yesterday, but I saw everybody covering it. And I said, I'll wait. I'll let them do it. They do it. It don't make no sense for me to go on do it. Everybody doing it. So, and plus I wanted to touch on about that, parallel that guy that informant that set up everything for Fred Hampton being unalive. How the government used us to bring down us. and how they don't care about us. But like I said earlier, if that role was reversed, the young white kid unaliving Carmelo Anthony, they would have victimized the white kid and got all kind of dirt on Carmelo Anthony, even though he's unalive. We saw that happen. We saw that happen with Trayvon Martin. We saw that happen with Castile. We saw that happen with George Floyd. How many times do we have to see this happen before we realize this? How long do we have to see this happen until we realize this? Like I say, history don't do nothing but repeat itself. It's a reason why I say the shit I say. I don't say shit just to be saying it. It's a reason why I say it. History always repeats itself. The defense lawyer didn't even try to help defend that young man. For him to be charged for murder, what in the fuck was the defense? Defense lawyer didn't bring out no character witnesses. Didn't explain nothing why the boy brought the knife. Like I say, he was from Frisco, Texas, y'all. That's the upshot suburb of Dallas. I know what Frisco. I knew somebody who lived in Frisco. So I know what Frisco is. He ain't a brother from the hood, a young brother from the hood. So why would it make him want to bring a knife to a track meet or to school? Why? Well, they say it was a pocket knife. Okay. But it was a legal pocket knife. Yes, it is, Cynthia. That's what I'm trying to tell people. If you knew about Frisco, Texas, just Texas, period. Because I heard stories. Like I say, I knew somebody that lived there. I heard stories. They don't want no black folks there. Quiet as they kept. You know what I'm saying? And you can look how the man, god damn. Man, a murder case don't last 2 weeks. Come on, man. Come on, man. It all don't make no sense, man. It don't make no sense. Now they say allegedly that the father knew the judge. That's what they say, allegedly. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't doubt it, but I'm not saying that he did. But I wouldn't doubt it. It wouldn't surprise me. Didn't put it that way. So all I know is the defense lawyer did a terrible job in representing that young man. It's like there was no fight back. When you use only one character witness, and that's the guy's mom, but you don't use her during the trial, or you don't get no character witness during the trial, but you're going to do it after they convicted him. Then use them as a character witness during sentencing. But you still only use one, and that's the mother. Come on, man. Shotty, we don't have no law. The law does not benefit us. But I tell you one thing, it's good for you to know the law. It's good for any black person to know the law. We can't be naive by the law. Even though the law is not meant for us per se, still learn the law. We still got to learn the law. Man, yeah. Yeah, I know it's tough down there, and I heard stories about Frisco, Texas. Yeah, that's where the Ancelants live at. Yup. So it's a trip. That young man's life is just ruined. Another young promising black man gone. No threat. Yeah. Well, it's messed up. It's messed up. I'm just gonna sit back and wait. I'm gonna see what black leader gonna jump up and say something. That's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what black leader gonna jump on this. Murder, first degree murder. Come on, man. Ain't that's a little bit excessive, man. That's too much, man. That's too much. That's more of a second degree manslaughter or something like that, man. That ain't, if you're gonna punish them, give them second degree manslaughter or something. That's murder. That means, see, people don't understand when you convicted of murder and what murder is. They don't know what murder is. Murder is the intent to do something like he planned to unalive old boy. That's what murder is. And that's how they got him on that murder case, because even though, you know, they couldn't use the knife as a deadly weapon because it was a legal knife. And by him using it on the boy while they supposed to have been probably fighting, but like I said, they kept the other boy, his twin brother name, out of it. So they making it like it was 101. So by him stabbing him in the chest, see, it's like he was fighting him and he decided to pull out his knife and stab him. So, you know, it's like, you know, it's fighting and he just decided to use deadly force. But actuality, what didn't come out in the courts, that his twin brother was in on it too. But that didn't come out, because if that would have came out, that would have strengthened his case as self-defense and stand your ground law. See, there's a lot of shit going on in this, man. There's a lot of shit going on in this, man. There's a lot of bullshit. There's some bullshit going on. That's why I'm sitting back and waiting. I want to see these black leaders. Where they at? Where they at? The only time you want to come out is when a police officer, a white police officer, unalive a black person. That's the only time you want to come out? Where you can gain something from your political stance? Something that'll help you politically? That's the only reason, only time you want to say something? Exactly. But see, the thing of it is, they can prove, or they can say that he just did that because they not including the other brother that was in on it too. See, because it was actually self-defense. And see, that's where I say that defense attorney, his attorney failed him. That's what defense attorney failed him. That's why I say all the motherfuckers in cahoots, if you ask me. Yep. Man, it's just too fishy, man. It's too fishy. That was the shortest and quick to the verdict murder trial I ever seen in my life. Even the O.J. Simpson murder trial lasted longer than that. Come on, man. And the jury on deliberated 4 hours? What? On a murder trial? What? Come on, man. Mm-mm. 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 You can't tell me that. I think every content creator needs to talk about this. Put this shit out there. Make people listen, man. People need to know about this. This young man's life is ruined, man. Because allegedly he got bullied and he defended himself. And that's messed up. Because he was defending himself. You might well say he lost his life. This wasn't nothing but a revenge thing, y'all. People always say people bring race into the equation, but you see that when things happen, you see the racism. Yeah, where he at? Where's Benjamin Crump at? But see, NYC, we don't know the circumstance why he used it. Like I said, it was first when it first happened. They were saying both of the twin brothers was attacking him. He told him don't touch him. See, it didn't come out that it was both of the twins going at him because they didn't bring that in court. They just made it that him and the other twin was just going at it. See, we don't know what the circumstance was. See, and we ain't gonna never know because that sad ass defense attorney didn't bring that out. That's the whole point. That's the whole damn point. See, so it's making it look like that him and old boy was going head up. That he just pulled out the knife and used it. But we don't know though. Let me ask you this. If you get jumped by two people, you're gonna do any means necessary to get them two guys off of you, right? I understand that. But what if they getting the best of you? You're gonna do anything necessary to get them off of you, right? Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Because I would. I don't care if I am throwing my hand, but if 2 or 3 people getting the best of me, I'm going to do anything necessary to get them off of me. If I got to bite them, cut them, anything, I'm going to do it. Period. So if you say you won't, you would just take an ass whooping. Fuck that, I ain't taking no ass whooping. Not if more than one person jumping me. Hell no. If they keep stomping you or beating you or whatever, they can kill you. So why keep on taking that? Shit, I'm doing whatever necessary. Well, hey, I don't carry knives, but I'm just saying, NYC, I'm do anything to get you off of me. His thing was probably the knife. Like I say, he didn't grow up in the city. So, that's probably his outlet. You know what I'm saying? Because I did say he was living in an influential type of city. He was in the suburbs of Dallas, so he was in the suburb. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm just saying in general. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was his outlet. But still, that didn't, It just made it like they just made it like, and the defense attorney let him that he was just, he didn't necessarily want to go head up with the guy. In actuality, he was really getting jumped. Shadi, you say you carry legal. Hey, Shadi, I know a lot of people that do. Yeah. Hey, who was that? Burris. He used to be the wide receiver in New York. Evo had a gun and shot himself in the leg, and he got in trouble because I think in New York you can't have a weapon or some shit. It was a law, state law or something. You can't carry around a weapon or something. Is it still like that in NYC? In the state of New York? Or New York City or whatever? That you can't, it ain't no conceal and carry? Yeah. Hey, do y'all still got that law in NYC? Or did they change y'all gun law? But I know when he got in trouble, y'all can conceal a weapon. Yeah, I know, Shotty, you don't give a fuck anyway, because you already carrying it legal, so it don't matter. Yeah. Because I think that's how he got in trouble. Oh, wasn't that crazy, Cynthia? Man, they fighting Spurs fans. What the hell? Shit, the Knicks fans probably mad because San Antonio whooped their ass back in '99 the last time they had a chance, so they scared. Oh no, I saw that shit. I was tripping too. It ain't like y'all rivals. What the hell? I could see it was the Chicago Bulls or something. I know y'all was mad. Shit. Y'all still is mad. Y'all just like them damn Cubs fans we got here. They was mad as hell until they won that World Series. Well, who the better team? The Knicks? Nah, y'all the more experienced team. Y'all ain't the better team. The Knicks better just. I keep telling people the pressure's on the Knicks. San Antonio just playing free nilly willy. The Knicks got pressure because the Knicks let San Antonio win tonight. Oh man, it's gonna be trouble. No. I'm just speaking on the game. I don't hate the Knicks. See, I used to love the Knicks. Shit. But just when they went against Chicago, I had to go with my home team, that's all. But shit, I used to love the Knicks, man. That's the old time. Shit. Even with Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley and all them guys. That's when they went against the Bulls. Hey, I had to go with my home team. That's all. Chicago nowhere near now. So I ain't got no reason to hate the Knicks. I'm just saying, from an observer of the game and commentating on the game, that the Knicks got pressure. They can't afford for San Antonio to win tonight. That's all I'm saying. No, they gonna ban Trump from Madison Square Garden. Fuck that. They gonna say, nah, nigga. Nah, nigga. Go watch on the White House shit. Mm. Last time you was here, you gave us bad luck. Uh, yeah, good. Get them far away from New York. Yeah, let them do something. Yeah, no, they don't want to do that either. See, you setting up a suicide mission. Yeah. Yeah, man, this shit crazy. See, CC don't want him. CC do not want him. Man, I gotta. Cause I'm thinking about shit jumping on my bike, riding to the lake. It's supposed to be 90 degrees here in Chicago. So thinking about it. Shit, I had to take my bike. Shit, I gotta get some air. I gotta see if my buddy got a pump. Put some air in my tire. You know? Man, who y'all talking about NYC? Yeah, y'all need to pray. Oh, well, I think we just got what, 2 more years left of them. I told people just sit back, eat your popcorn, just enjoy. Because you know he gonna act a fool. You know he gonna act a fool. Oh, hold on, Pete. Yep, yep. Yeah. What y'all talking about, man? Oh, you think people praying for y'all downfall, Shotty? Who? New York? I don't think so. See, you got a lot of people riding that Wimbyama wave, man. That's all. I don't think people praying for the Knicks downfall. I think a lot of people riding that Wimbyama wave. Because not only would it be a big story if the Knicks win after 53 years, but it'd be, in their mind, a bigger story if Wembanyama win the NBA championship. See, the NBA has more to claim if Wembanyama win the championship. Yeah, it'll help New York as a state. You talking about, yeah, it'll help New York as a state. But I'm talking about overall NBA because they looking for a face of the NBA. They ain't gonna make Brunson the face of the NBA. They ain't gonna make Karl Anthony Towns the face of the NBA. Well, you gotta know the truth. It's the truth. Shit. Motherfucker used to say, shit, the Cubs ain't gonna win because they ain't win since 1908. What do you think is worse? What do you think is worse? Shit. Facts is facts, man. Yeah, New York didn't win since 1973. I was 9 years old the last time y'all won the NBA championship. Shit. That's the truth, man. Yeah, it'd be good for New York Knicks fans, the city of New York, if they win. Well, I'm talking about for the NBA and whole. Shit, if Wembanyama win, that'll be a bigger story. Okay, well, they got to prove it on the court, Shotty. They thought they was gonna win Monday night too. They got to win it on the court. Yeah, the pressure's on New York. See, New York did what like some teams do. They get too confident. They think it's gonna happen automatically. Oh, you got to do it out there on the court every game. Then because you're on that little win streak, that don't mean nothing. Nah, 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 nah. Shadi, you missing the point. What I'm saying. Now we all know that Knicks is a big market. We all know this. We all know this. That's not taken away from the Knicks and how the people, the fans of New York, feel about the Knicks. I'm saying the NBA, but you can't say the Knicks better is more impactful than Michael Jordan. Come on now, let's be real. You can't say both of them put together. But see, I'm not talking about the Knicks. I'm talking about the NBA in the whole. Michael Jordan didn't play for the Knicks. Wemby don't play for the Knicks. Now, amongst your organization, amongst the city, yeah, the Knicks are bigger. Yes, I agree. But I'm talking about as far as the NBA, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm talking about the NBA. Yeah, nobody not saying that, Shotty. Y'all a good market team. You and the Lakers. Y'all the top market teams. Y'all the top market team. Come on, y'all. Y'all stop it. Y'all stop it. The refs don't play the game. Everybody want to blame the refs. The refs don't play the game. You got to play the game. If you play according to the refs, then you're not hooping. If you go out there and win the game like you're supposed to, without the refs being involved, that's what you do. You can't always blame the refs, man. Y'all need to stop that shit. Y'all just mad because we used to whoop y'all ass. Then we y'all got to have a chance to go to the finals and went to the finals, y'all lost. You couldn't blame the refs then. Did you blame the refs when they played Houston in the finals? Did you blame the refs when they played San Antonio in the final? Man, come on, y'all. Y'all need to stop it. Y'all need to stop it. Y'all just mad because y'all couldn't beat the man. Y'all couldn't beat him. Don't get mad at him. You gotta tell your team to step the game up. Your team to step the game up. We all had the chance to go. Y'all let a young Shaq beat y'all, and y'all let Hakeem Olajuwon beat y'all in the finals. Come on, man. That's why they got lackadaisy. They can say they stayed focused, but they didn't. They got too cocky, in my opinion. They was expecting to win instead of going out to win. That was a bad boy. What you say? He was a cheat code. I'm just saying. Yeah, I know. I know. That's what I'm saying. New York lost to Atlanta, young Shaq. Of course, they got swept by Houston. And they got beat by Houston in the finals, too. And San Antonio in 99. So New York had their chances. Hey, how many centers was the match with Hakeem, man? What you don't remember, Shotty? Mm. Mm-hmm. How was it that Houston fault? Houston wasn't even in the final. It was San Antonio. You say Houston lost to San Antonio? I don't know. I know you're talking about. Yeah, that was a disappointment for y'all. That was a disappointment. But hey, y'all, I'm gonna get off this thing. You know, everybody, thanks for coming through. Shotty, NYC, all you guys. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Till the next time. I holla.